we're covering the question of how do I ensure employees continue their development even when they're busy. And we've talked about three levers, which are making it a high priority for employees, making it convenient for them to develop at times that suit them, and make it so that it doesn't take up too much time. We've talked about the leader of leadership or management influence, so that even if it's not seen as a top priority by the employee intrinsically, that it's made a priority for them by virtue of the management. In this next, we're going to cover the time and convenience factor, so the extent to which we can use this lever. So how can we make the development more convenient, more timely, better fitting into people's ways of working, so that they're likely to continue in their development even when they're easy? So one concept is, which will be very familiar, is the concept of bite-size learning. Now this is basically about making it so that rather than having to go on a 2-day course where they have to book time right out of their diary and they're going to go away, perhaps an off-site or whatever, instead we make it bite-sized so that it's easy for them to just pick it up and then learn a little bit and then do something else and pick up another bit of learning. So there's a number of ways we can do this. Commonly I see that people make it bite-sized by just making it really short. And that's quite effective because it makes it easy for them to consume. But actually, you should probably think more about how to integrate it into people's ways of working, or rather than, or in fact, further, rather than just ways of working, actually into their life. So, for example, this bite-sized learning, you could put together something that's only a 15-minute piece of content. Perhaps it's a video plus something to read and something to think about. So 5-minute video, 5 minutes something to read, and then a couple of questions that they should think about the answer to. That 15 minutes sounds a lot until you say it's designed to be done on your coffee break. So for example, you could say, well actually, here's a coffee break session. It's only 15 minutes long. As a result, you'll learn a lot, and it's barely anything out of your day. You might say, well, actually, some in your organisation, maybe people don't tend to have lunch together. Maybe they tend to go out for lunch or grab a sandwich or eat at their desk or whatever. As a result, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour would be appropriate for something that people are going to learn on their lunches. And indeed, some organisations use lunch and learns, where they invite people during their lunch to come to a training room. They'll be taught some concepts. There'll be some kind of lunch provided, and they'll do that during their lunch hour. Now that's really effective, but actually it doesn't have to be a big training thing that you bring everyone to. You can make it video content or presentation content or whatever that they can cover. It might even be that you say, okay, here's a book. It's or an audio book, it's 8 hours long in terms of how long it'll take. So as a result, we recommend that you read it over or listen to it if it's audio, but over the course of 2 weeks, over your lunch breaks. And by being clear about how you're integrating it into their life, it makes it easier. There isn't just their lunch breaks and coffee breaks if you're worried that people feel like they're not getting their break. There's dead time as well. So for example, if people commute, there's commuting time, and of course when you commute, people they walk, they might go in a car, and they might drive, or they might be being driven. Some will get on a train or a subway, and as a result, those are all opportunities for learning as well. Me personally, if I'm on a train for a decent amount of time, I'll get my laptop out and work. So I won't tend to do personal development because it's like being at a desk. But if I'm in the car, specifically if I'm driving, I can't get my laptop out. It's very, very dangerous. So instead, I listen to audiobooks. So audiobooks are fantastic for that because I can just listen in, and I'll regularly get through a full book, a decent-sized book, which is probably 8 to 11 hours worth of audiobook per week, just through listening to it in the car and when I'm walking along. Just per week, I'll get through 10 hours worth of audiobooks through listening to it when I'm walking along and in the car. The train, as I say, I personally work but that's a good time for other people if they want a bit more of a chill out. Then watching a video or some kind of other learning resource like that feels less working than sitting at a laptop, and as a result they probably feel more comfortable not being actually working when they're commuting, and instead just taking a bit of time to learn something. So that's a great opportunity for them to do that as well. Other things you can do are you could put time, get people to put time in their diary for learning, because this all assumes that they don't consider work time as time that they can use for learning. But of course they can, in the same way as a training course. So actually you could get them to put time aside per week, per day, per month or whatever for learning. So it might be that you say, right, if you're committed to developing in your career, making more sales, being the best product innovator, whatever, being a leader of men, then you're going to need to read a book a week. You're going to need to learn how the best people in the industry do this stuff. As a result, we recommend you put aside 10 minutes per day plus an hour on a Friday plus whatever. So as a result, you can use that. So you can see that it isn't just about saying, oh yes, we've made it bite-sized. It's about then being clear about how you expect people to integrate it into their life. Because if you can do this, then you can fit it around the fact that despite they're busy, they can still do this. And you can see that none of this really would contradict what they're just doing with their normal their normal workload. So that's another way in which you can make it really convenient and make it at the time. There are other ways that you can do this as well. For example, if you rely heavily on in-person training, that can sometimes be inconvenient for people that have got various meetings and so on, and as a result finding the particular day that works can be difficult. So as a result, you should think about e-learning, whether it's online, classic sort of doing exercises on a computer, but also just video resources, reading material. So, for example, suggesting a book, suggesting magazines, articles, or whatever. One of the other things that you can do is learn from blogs and newsletter sites where, like for example, I have a blog where you can find out information about how to inspire and make greatness in your employees. It covers a lot on improving training attendance, but the key is that I encourage you to subscribe, and then you get regular information every few days or every week with information that's going to help improve your success in your organisation. Now, I'm not sending you full day-long pieces of content, I'm drip feeding it. So it's kind of a bit of a combination of making some of this bite-sized, it's a bit of a combination of making some of this e-learning and not in person, but also it's the fact that it's over a period of time. So it's not just they have to go and pick it up, that they have to pull it. Instead, you're making it available on a regular basis. So learn from how people do blogs and newsletters to see if you can provide content that way, in a way that's a bit easier. If someone's just a bit snowed over under their sales, it's really easy, useful if an email comes from development with his top 10 tips for taking time out to make a sale or whatever. So learn from that as well. So those are some really powerful ways of making it more convenient to continue development even when employees are busy. I hope you can apply those in your own organisations. If you've got questions on how to do these or suggestions of how you do it in your organisation, then let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested to hear that. So thank you.